What St. Lucie Public Schools brought to me today, I was very impressed with it. I really enjoyed it. I hope they continue this program because a lot of students, they need this in their current daily lives because not a lot of them know about the colleges or know about what's out there for them. So with this program, I thought it really helped me out.
And that's really special to me because I never really thought that I would even be able to go to college.
And I'm so happy that this opportunity was provided to me because where else could you come in and within an hour have all these resources poured down on you like this? This is a really amazing thing for every student. I wish more students were here to embrace this and acknowledge that.
Hello everyone, I'm Carrie Patrick for WLX TV's Eye on St. Lucie, where we explore and discuss school policies, operations, and instructional practices. You've just heard from 3 of our amazing students who attended the school district's first HBCU HSI College Fair. HBCU HSI? What's that, you might ask? HBCU, Historically Black Colleges and Universities, and HSI, Hispanic Serving Institutions. This college fair drew advisors and administrators from 18 colleges and universities from the southeastern United States, the U.S. Coast Guard, Army National Guard, human resource representatives from St. Lucie Public Schools for A Promise is a Promise, alumni ambassadors from Greek fraternities and sororities, and financial advisors from the Department of Education and Wells Fargo. 600 seniors poured into the event, well prepared to speak about their future opportunities and the potential for college and career success. As you've already heard from our students, many were gifted with on-the-spot college admissions, and for some, scholarships to relieve the financial burden associated with the cost of post-secondary education. But just how many admissions were offered and how much was awarded in scholarships? The amount is staggering. So stay tuned to find out the totals and what college recruiters are saying about our students as we join event organizers Dr. Kevin Perry and Lynda Octavi in the studio. Well, we're back in the studio, and I'd like to welcome our very honored guests, Dr. Kevin Perry and Miss Lynda Octavi. These are the organizers of our event. Dr. Perry, Lynda, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about the role you have at the district and then what role you played in organizing this very special event for our students?
Well, I am the assistant to the superintendent, and in that role I help, in a nutshell, help bring to fruition many of the activities that the superintendent wants to occur, be it on the academic side, working with schools, or the community liaison for many different projects that are going on.
Okay.
Hi, Carrie. I'm a program specialist for secondary programs. And in that role, I work with the middle schools and the high schools with a variety of things. IB, advanced coursework, ACE, AP, SAT, and also college level items.
Now, I know both of you have a very, very special interest in doing everything you can to provide opportunities for our students, open doorways, create pathways to success. Specifically, what led you to have a unique interest in creating this very, very special event, the first of its kind in St. Lucie County, the HBCU HSI College Fair?
We have a regular college fair in the fall, and I wanted to look at something different. I had heard about HBCUs in other areas, so I did a little bit of research, spoke with Dr. Perry, and we sat down and talked about some different things that we could do with our district to bring many of the HBCUs, HSIs here to our county so that our students would have the same opportunities that other students in other areas of the country have.
Dr. Perry?
I am a proud HBCU grad, Bethune-Cookman College at the time, Bethune-Cookman University. And about 8 or 10 years ago, many of the HBCU graduates put together an HBCU college fair because we noticed that many of those institutions that we attended were not represented at the regular college fair. So we wanted to do all that we could to give students another kind of exposure and opportunities that would be available to them. And then when this idea came up, I was asked to work with the wonderful Miss Lynda Octavi, and it was just a perfect fit because of where my heart lies. And we were able to work together to basically exceed our expectations, I think, of the number of the HBCUs, HSIs that participated in the wonderful things that happened for our children. And in the end, because the bottom line, it is all about doing all we can to make sure that our students have all the opportunities possible for them.
All right, and Dr. Perry, I know you in particular mentor many of our students through some of the groups and organizations that you're involved with, and we have many of our professionals within St. Lucie Public Schools who are graduates of HBCU, HSI institutions, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Ms. Octavia had the awesome idea also of including a Greek row. And Greek life at HBCUs is the mainstay of the social, academic, community involvement kind of life for students. And 5 of the 9 from the Panhellenic Council were represented at the HBCU College Fair just to give students an exposure about those other things that are happening. But the neat thing about the Greek row was all of those organizations that were represented also have a youth group that they mentor, and all of those students basically come from our schools. Also, and a lot of us are educators as well, so the students are getting an extra dose of education when they come to youth group meetings with many of us. I know we all know Dr. Samuel Gaines and his wife Teresa. They're HBCU grads. All of their children are HBCU grads. Many of us know Benita and Harry Williams. They're all HBCU grads. Many people know Dr. Chris Taylor, Queen Townsend, Dr. David Washington, all HBCU grads.
You're exactly correct. And just over the last month, with some of the events that we had most recently with our Martin Luther King activities, so much of that was highlighted because of our students having opportunities to participate in oratorical contests and spelling bees and essay contests and things like that, where their skills and talents were highlighted. That was definitely obvious because a lot of those were sponsored by our fraternities and sororities.
That is correct.
In the area.
Alpha Kappa Alpha does the Youth Symposium, founded at an HBCU, Howard University in 1908. Alpha Phi Alpha, founded in 1906 at Cornell University, does the oratorical contest. So again, those educators doing educational kinds of things for our students. And of course, it's all in celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was an HBCU grad, graduate from Morehouse College in Atlanta, and a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which just so happens to be my fraternity as well.
Well, I'm glad you got that little plug in there.
Yes, he did.
Now, I know our superintendent has been known to say that events such as this and others have the potential to change lives for our students, and he is definitely all about doing everything he can to make a positive impact on the lives of our students. Do you feel that this event in particular had that impact for our students?
I do, Carrie. Many of the students at the event were coming up to me thanking me for having this. When we were out at the schools, they were talking about it. They were very excited. They walked in excited with smiles on their faces, and they walked out even more excited with scholarships in hand. So I do think that we offered students that may not have thought that college was a possibility to them the opportunity to see they can go to college. There's something out there for them.
Okay, and you know, as we were speaking to students at the fair, we also had the opportunity to speak to some of the recruiters, some of the advisors from the colleges and universities that were there. And what was so wonderful was to hear them talk about our students. So why don't we take just a moment and let's hear what some of the advisors and recruiters had to say about why they felt it was important to be right here in St. Lucie at this fair.
It's very important for me to be here to offer students the opportunity at higher education. We all know that education is the key for success. And so if a student has a great education, their future is bright. And this county has some of the brightest students in the state.
Well, I think actually who has prepared these students the most is your teachers. they've done a great job of working with them. Academically, I've seen very good GPAs, and many of them exceeding what I would have expected here. And the GPAs on I would say 95% of those students, excellent. And they can go to school anywhere in America. What really helps me to understand what is taking place here is their SAT scores and ACT scores. I've seen students that are marginal, I've seen them that was above average, and I've seen those that have exceeded above average. So I've seen all three categories, and I can tell you right now, we're excited about it.
I'm very glad to be here. I've been informed that this will be an annual event. Please invite me again. And I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to wait a whole year to come back. I probably will come back in about 6 weeks. But once again, thank you for the opportunity to represent Alabama State University and to work with such fine young men.
The students have shown the professionalism, the work ethic, and the aptitude to be successful in college. And we appreciate the district for getting these students prepared as they have. And we plan to come back every year to participate because these are some great students, and the opportunities and the future for these students are as bright as they can be.
It's always wonderful to hear people from outside of our community complimenting our students and our teachers because, you know, we see our students every day and we know what goes into to their preparedness and what they feel and what they really look forward to. And so sometimes we may have a little bit of subjectivity when we talk about our students, but hearing it from someone else is just absolutely amazing. So it's clear that our students were prepared, and we know that that network of support, we talked about a little bit of the support they got from some of our sororities and fraternities and community members earlier. What about the support that they got from internal means with the workshops and the in-class preparedness for this?
We started off with an informational workshop to all the students to let them know what an HBCU is, what an HSI is, and what this fair was all about. We provided them with information on every one of the colleges that we're going to be attending, their admittance requirements, websites so that they could go to those and gather information, worked with guidance counselors on materials that were needed, such as transcripts, letters of recommendation. And then Dr. Perry and I also went back into the schools and we conducted interviewing technique workshops. We did mock interviews with the students, and Dr. Perry did a Dress for Success workshop with the students. And they were very thankful for those. They had lots of comments and questions and very concerned with how they should present themselves, which I think they did a great job at the fair.
And those are skills that will take them just beyond a career fair, because we do work with our students in K-12 for college and career readiness.
That was one of the things I think we stressed when we were doing the interviewing skills as well as the Dress for Success. We told those students that we're going to share information that's not just about today or for that Monday when the HBCU HSI fair occurred, but that will take you through life everywhere. And then we kind of pinpointed some very specific things in addition that would lead them specifically to the fair.
And then beyond first impressions, the recruiters and advisors also referenced the academics of our students. And of course, you know, it's so very important that our students are well versed in the standards and making sure that they have the tools in order to carry them through their college and their career, because we want them to be articulate and well versed in the areas of study. So how are we preparing our students as far as their aptitudes and their performance on SAT, ACT, because that specifically was mentioned?
I think that the teachers are addressing their curriculum through the state standards, which fall right in line with the SAT. They also have access to something called Khan Academy, which is a personalized plan, education plan that the students can put together for themselves, work on independently as well as with their teachers, looking at areas of strengths and areas that they might need a little bit more help with.
And of course, we as St. Lucie Public School educators know that the relationship piece is very important. And I think that within our schools, our educators understand that as well. So we work on making sure that we can help establish goals for each of our students and the individualization that takes place. I know that most recently we've had some opportunity to celebrate the fact that we have a tremendous leap in our graduation rate, and we attribute much of that to the individualization of looking at what we're doing to help each student meet graduation requirements.
Well, when you look at everything that's happening with and for children in our schools, one of the things we have is a graduation coach. Of course, they have those individual goals. And then we find that many of our students are also part of different organizations. And because they're pushed to do well in those organizations, it kind of carries over into the academic studies, because those teachers are also saying, this is what's going to get you to the next level. So when we think about the academic preparedness of our students, they have all passed SAT or ACT. They all have those concurrent scores with FSA or whatever it is, so that they are the cohort that actually is prepared to graduate based on the standards that have been pre-established by the state of Florida.
And Dr. Perry, you bring up a very, very valid point. Within our schools, we have just tremendous opportunities for students to participate in career and technical academies, allied health, some focused on multimedia, engineering, etc. And that's one of the beautiful aspects of our HBCU, HSI, because of the programs they offer.
Well, when we were communicating, Ms. Octavi and I were communicating with many of the recruiters that were coming, we made sure that they were going to meet students that were part of our IB program, that were part of our ACE program, our Marine Oceanographic, our veterinary program. These are students that are also participating in dual enrollment, so they already come with some kind of college credits or something like that. So they were getting the creme de la creme, and these students have some very bright futures ahead of them because of the opportunities that are available for them in all of our schools.
And with that, we are always looking for outstanding educators in order to make sure that those programs stay the creme de la creme. And so we had our very own human resource team there because St. Lucie Public Schools offers what is called a promise is a promise. And for students who are interested in going to school and studying a course in education, making sure that they get their credentials as educators, what we will do is we will assure them that if they go to school, receive their degree, get their credentials as an educator, return to St. Lucie County and want to work here as an educator, we will promise them a job here in St. Lucie County as an educator in St. Lucie Public Schools. And so we had our own Patty Galloway and team there, and I think now's a good time to let Patty explain what that's all about. So we're going to cut to her at the college fair and see what she has to say about that.
A Promise is a Promise is a program designed by St. Lucie Public Schools to entice our students to go off to college, major in education, and then come back to St. Lucie County. We know that students who grow up in St. Lucie Public Schools and know the challenges and the celebrations over the years are most equipped to teach our students. So we want our St. Lucie Public Schools students to declare a major in education before they go off to college, and we're going to promise you a career when you come back.
Well, I know that Mrs. Galloway and our team from Human Resources was just extremely excited because at the end of that single day, we had a tremendous number of students who made a commitment and signed contracts for A Promise is a Promise. Can you share that number with us?
We had 22, Carrie, 22 students that decided to take our district up on the Promise is a Promise and agree to come back once they've received their teaching credentials and teach in our county.
And that's wonderful. I mean, right now within our schools, we've got many St. Lucie Public School graduates who are in our classrooms. Some children of parents who are educators. We have a kind of a legacy of educators, a trend starting. It's fantastic. And
some children that we all have taught
that's
that
true
are
too.
teaching with
That
us
is true too.
as well.
But it's just a wonderful thing because when we plant the seeds and we can see that coming back and growing in our own community, it's just a wonderful thing, because St. Lucie Public Schools is part of St. Lucie County, a great place to live, to grow, to learn, and to play. You know, and we want people to love St. Lucie County and want to return here. Anything on our students who are going to be future educators?
Well, the program is a promise, as you mentioned, and it was started some years ago, and it's really neat to see those students that have already committed are the students that we meet along the way that have decided, yes, I'm going to be an educator and I want to come back home, because we all know that there are many job opportunities available across the state, across our country for educators. So we're always looking for educators, but when we have those students that grew up here, know St. Lucie County, proud of St. Lucie County, that want to come back and work in St. Lucie County, it just says something else about the strong educational opportunities that they received here, and that they're willing to come back and share for the advancement, the continued advancement, as referenced in our excellent graduation rate, with our students.
And let's keep in mind too, that's not all of our seniors. That was 600 of our seniors from our entire graduating class. We still have many more opportunities as we look forward to our graduation class and this number growing with more students who want to make that commitment.
Right.
What will happen is that the graduation leaders on their campuses, senior class sponsors, they will all continue to have conversations with students about what their career choices are going to be. And we will get many more students that have committed to being educators who will receive the promises, a promise certificate from us by the time we get to our graduations in May.
Okay. All right. So I said earlier in the very beginning of the show that people were going to be blown away by the number of admittances that were offered and the amount of scholarship dollars that were offered to our very deserving students at this college fair. So why don't we get right into that, because this is just amazing. And I want to stress one more time, this was the inaugural year. So we've set a baseline.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And what a baseline we have set.
Got a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
All right. So 600 students poured in to this college fair expecting great things.
They did.
And what did they receive?
And they walked away with great things too, Carrie. 343 admittances were offered to those 600 students. And of those 600 students, we had just over $5.9 million in scholarships offered. So yes, did we make a difference in their lives? I believe we did.
5.9 million, $6 million. $6 million
Yes.
of financial burden relieved. And those are recurring.
Yes.
I looked at the paperwork and the offers. Maybe it was $2,000 a year for 4 years, $10,000 a year for 4 years, $15,000 a year for 4 years, full rides, ramping up to equaling $65,000, $85,000, $100,000 for some of these universities. Very prestigious programs and opportunities. And as we spoke to some of the students at the fair, I mean, watering eyes saying, I never knew I had so many opportunities afforded to me. Just amazing.
Yeah, I would tell people that we all need to continue to inform students about opportunities that are available to them. And because they're called historically black, you have to understand why they are. But some of the best programs for students, for instance, if a student is going to major in business and doesn't consider the School of Business and Industry at FAMU, or if a student wants to be a pharmacist and doesn't consider the pharmacy program at FAMU, Bethune-Cookman has a 100% pass rate for their nursing students. The engineering program at North Carolina A&T is first rate. So you have a plethora of opportunities that are available if we just continue to inform students. And I think that's what the superintendent meant by the potential to change lives. Everybody won't get into Florida State. They can't, you know, or the University of Florida. But when students know that you have these top-rate #1 programs that are here, that are there, and they're getting scholarship dollars to come, we just increase the opportunities to change their lives.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that goes back to that key word, individualization.
Yes.
Getting to know each student's needs, wants, desires, and individualizing it for him or her. We open a door, we create a pathway, and we help make it possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we changed a lot of lives.
I agree.
Not only at the fair, but through the workshops that we presented, because students, again, gained additional information
Yes.
that will take them past their high school career time into their chosen careers or the next phase of their lives.
Right.
All right, so I know there are parents out there listening. I know there are juniors out there listening who are going to be seniors next year going, I want into that. What can they expect?
Well, they will have the opportunity to be in on that. Dr. Perry and I have already chosen dates for next year, which have been approved. We're looking at a 2-day event next year. The first day would be January 22nd of 2018, and that would be a community event. Would have it in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. with workshops for parents and students, as well as having the college recruiters there for everyone to meet. The next day would be a student event similar to what we had this year, where our high school seniors would come in and meet with the recruiters, and that would be a daytime event. So we're very excited for next year. We already have most of the recruiters that were at the fair from the colleges have agreed to come back and have agreed to bring teams of people with them next year because they were so impressed with our students and wanted to have the opportunity to have more of their personnel there to talk to our children to offer more opportunities.
And what we're going to also find is, as Ms. Octavi mentioned, the 5.9 mil. We had a school that was flying in and had some technical difficulties, but that school that was going to participate in the fair is coming back. So
Right.
we will have some additional dollars offered to students based on the HBCU HSI College Fair. But I also want to quickly mention that at the end of the day, we have our AVID program at Samuel Gaines Academy. 8th grade students that are trying to realize decades of college dreams that had their first opportunity to come through a college fair and meet college recruiters.
Correct.
To see what it's like and what's going to take them to also in 4 years be some of these students to receive some of those same wonderful scholarships. Again, as the superintendent said, the potential to change lives.
To change lives. All
We
right.
also had 2 of our colleges asked to come back in the fall
Okay.
and to go to each individual school because their scholarship deadlines are in the fall, so they want to hit our students early.
Amazing. Thank you both so very much. I appreciate you being here, opening doors, creating pathways for success. Well, there you have it. That's our show for today, and we thank you for joining us. And we encourage you to follow us, like us, and watch us on our social media channels. And as always, keep your eye on St. Lucie.